What's up, my comic comrades? Today we are kicking off a new series focused on Marvel's What If series. And what better way to start that off than with something Loki-centric, like issue 47 titled, What If Loki Had Found the Hammer of Thor? First, that's just an interesting idea, but it also fits quite nicely alongside the ongoing MCU Loki series we're all watching. But before we get to that, we want to thank our good friends at Displate for sponsoring today's episode. We are really excited to be working with Displate because we were fans and customers of their work long before we talked about them here on the show. And that is because Displate is the leading marketplace for incredible high-quality metal posters created by a community of some of the most talented artists from around the world. Some of which include unique posters from DC, Marvel, Star Wars, The Mandalorian, Lord of the Rings, anime, gaming, and a crap ton more. Altogether, Displate features over 1.4 million pieces of art for you to customize, build your own collections, and arrange however you want. But on top of the incredible quality of the metal prints is the ability to hang and rearrange your Displate posters in seconds. It's one of our favorite aspects of the Displate designs, and it's all due to their insanely easy to install magnetic wall mount system. Every Displate metal poster comes with a mounting guide sticker and magnets. To show you exactly what we're talking about, Displate just sent over these 4 dope Loki themed posters, which we're swapping out to match our recent Loki themed episodes. And it literally took about 60 seconds to do so. You just line your Displates up wherever you want to hang them, apply the magnets to the wall where instructed on the guide sticker, and mount your poster. You don't need a single nail, screw, or tool. It is freaking awesome. You can also choose from 3 different sizes, medium, large, or extra large. Select a matte or gloss finish, and even pick from multiple frame options. All of which allows you to build fully customized collections of your favorite designs right on your wall. Just click our link in the description to start assembling your collection. And as a member of the Variant Nation, you'll get 27% off your order of 1 or 2 Displates and 37% off 3 or more Displates. But you want to get on that now because that discount is only good through June 30th. And while you'll be hooking yourself up with a fresh new wall art collection, you'll also be making the world a bit greener. Because Displate partners with Trees for the Future to plant 1 tree in the places that need them most for every Displate poster you buy. And as our friend Comic Tom might say, that's geeking responsibly. So again, click our link in the description below to check out some of our favorite collections and then start building your own. You'll also get that great discount I mentioned until June 30th, which will be applied once you add your selections to the cart. Make sure to let us know which designs are your favorite in the comment section as well. But with that said, let's start talking some Loki. On with the show. The comic opens up with Heimdall accidentally shedding a tear near the tree Loki was imprisoned in. Once free, Loki says, "Lord Odin, who I do call father, imprisoned me secretly in this tree until my plight should cause someone to shed a tear." Even though it was a leaf hitting Heimdall's eye that made him shed a tear, but I guess that didn't matter. Loki continues to say, so that ever-vigilant protector of Asgard has brought peril himself on the golden city of Asgard. For dear Heimdall, the god Loki shall reach such mischief on the realm eternal, it shall be hard to tell it from black evil. On the next page, we then see the Watcher, who readers of the What If series know starts off every single issue. He then tells us, the readers, "I am the Watcher, and so in your age was Loki, most nefarious of the Asgardians, let loose upon the world of Asgard in Earth." The force which ever stood against Loki's depredations was Thor, god of thunder, his half-brother. But there are worlds divergent of ours, in which that force was not brought to bear. In this world, the question is answered, what if Loki found Thor's hammer first? After this, the Watcher recounts the origin of Thor, where we see Odin tell Thor, "My son, the time has come when thou need learn humility, and the teacher shall be banishment to the mortal plane as a mortal." But Thor responds, "Father Odin, this is unthinkable. I protest. I will not stand for it." Odin replies, "Thou will give us complaint, thou will not stand for it, and that is precisely why you must undergo this tempering." At which point he sends Thor to Earth, transforming him into the human Donald Blake. After being on Earth for some time, Donald Blake took a vacation to Norway, where he stumbled upon aliens who had come from Saturn to begin their conquest on Earth. Blake tells himself, "This is incredible, I must warn someone." And as he runs off, he's spotted by the aliens who say, "A native, we must not be discovered so early. After him and kill him." Running in blind panic, Blake stumbles into an ancient cave, which was then subsequently sealed off because of a rock slide. Scared and confused, Blake wandered through the caverns hoping to find an escape route, but instead he found a cane, a stick, resting on something like a pedestal. And from here, we know the rest. Donald Blake picks up the stick, strikes it on a rock, which turns the stick into Mjolnir and Blake into Thor, at which point he destroys the aliens. But we are then taken to the Watcher, who says, in your world, Thor's revival occurred before that of Loki by only the smallest of margins. But there are other worlds which diverge from your own at significant points. Worlds which in the timing of these revivals differs. On your world, Thor was on hand to counter the god of mischief's every thrust, be it on Earth or Asgard. But there are alternate realities in which by chance the tear of Heimdall fell at an earlier date, and Loki was freed while Thor was still bereft of memory and power. And it is to one such reality we travel, and on this reality we see Loki is free from his imprisonment by Odin. He then uses his sorcery to see what his half-brother Thor is up to. And when he does, he says to himself, "But what is this? My spell reveals my half-brother is not but a mortal." And yet the spell seeks out the very essence of a being, penetrating all dissemblance. So it must be he. It sits with me that another power could have done such mischief to Thor, and has trapped him in the foulest of traps, a mortal form. Is there some other evil force that Loki must contend with? Or rather, O blessed father, is this Odin's ham-handed way of chastising Thor, even as he chastised me? Oh Odin, king of the universe, royal idiot, let me test it. Let Mjolnir the hammer be revealed. At which point Loki's magic reveals Thor's hammer, which is now in the form of a stick. Even so, it lies there, transformed on Midgard with Thor, separate from him, unguarded and vulnerable. This is my chance at last, but what now? The piece of mortal meat approaches the hiding place. Odin must mean for him to find it. But I will not be denied. This moment shall not be snatched from my grasp. And on the next page, we see Loki disguise himself as a fly to get past Heimdall, who guards the Bifrost. Once on Midgard, aka Earth, Loki approaches Mjolnir saying, "Almighty Mjolnir, Warhammer, Thunderer, that I could never lift as a sprat, that Thor won by his brutish muscles and simple brain. But you are no Uru mass now, only a simple piece of wood. A piece of wood a mere mortal can lift. So can Loki." And as Donald Blake, aka Thor, Loki's brother, comes into the cavern looking for the stick, he sees that it's gone, realizing that he could be trapped there forever. But even worse, those creatures could probably move the rock slide and get to him. A little bit after this, elsewhere on Earth, we see Loki standing on top of a mountain saying, "It is sad that holding onto the stick would reveal me as the culprit. Pity, it would have made a fine trophy, but I have an idea. It is detectable to Odin's eye in this form. If this piece of wood were to meld with other wood in great profusion, yes, I will throw this splinter with all of my divine might, to a spot even I do not know, and bestowing on it the gift of life and growth, allowing it to sprout and grow and become as a brother to 1,000 trees of the forest. At which point, Odin will not be able to find it." It's at this point back in the cave, the stone aliens make their way to finding Donald Blake, saying, "You will not jeopardize our mission. You must be silenced." And with that, they kill Donald Blake. Then back on Asgard, Odin, while on his throne, opens his eyes saying, "Thor, what monstrosity is this? What has befallen my son? I must go to the chamber of eternal view at once." And when Odin goes to look into the eternal view, he says, "No, this is madness. It was not meant to be. The mortal Blake is in the very chamber of Mjolnir, but Mjolnir is gone. By the hand of some troll thing, he has been slain." With tears falling from his eyes, Odin conjures up a storm on Earth to kill the aliens that killed his son with thunder and lightning, while saying, "Thor, my son, what folly have I wrought? I have given my son, my heir, up to death." Meanwhile, in another place, we see Thor awakened in a purgatory of sorts in the afterlife. He says, "I remember only a punishment decreed by Odin, and then a strange dream." Then back on Asgard, Odin puts on his armor, grabs his sword, and gathers his Asgardian army saying, "We're going on a journey." And the journey would be to go to Hela, the goddess of death. And since she's the goddess of death, she can release Thor from death. But of course, when Odin gets to Hela, they cannot strike a deal and start fighting instead. During the fight, Balder hears that it's not going well, so he decides to help out and join the fight when he initially declined. But as he's making his way to help Odin, he is stopped by a mysterious warrior who kills him by putting a spear through his chest. Then on the next page, we see this mysterious man say, "I have discovered the secret prophecies that the death of Balder brings Ragnarok, the end of the gods and their world. Ragnarok, when Loki shall lead the ancient enemies of Asgard to cut its heart out, when all wrongs done to him shall have their recompense. But that time, while close, is not yet, so I must flee and let the fair body of Balder be the bewildered discovery of another." As we see, this mysterious warrior is of course Loki. And on the next page, we see Ragnarok has started, with the frost giants rising, the Midgard serpent thrashing its coils, the troll nations rising to the lands of Asgard, and winter taking over the immortal lands, banishing birth, growth, and fruitation, leaving only the chill of frozen doom. Back on Earth, Heimdall and several other Asgardians are looking for Mjolnir in the forest that is now covered in snow. But of course, Loki can't let this happen, so he starts attacking them with his dragon, who shoots fire at them. The fight goes on for a few pages, but ultimately they defeat the dragon and find Mjolnir. Heimdall then brings it back to Odin, saying, "My lord, though Thor be gone, I bring you what part of him we may use." Odin then takes it, saying, "Thou hast done good, Heimdall," smacking the stick on the ground as it turns into Mjolnir, saying, "And may the hammer lay silent at the sound of hope in the land, for the hammer is Thor's, by blood and flame and honor and spirit. Only he can bring victory to Asgard with it." We are then taken to the purgatory of sorts in the afterlife, where we see Thor fighting alongside Balder. As they are fighting the army of Hela, they see a figure in the distance holding Thor's hammer, with Thor saying, "It wears my gloves, which allows anyone to carry my hammer, though he not have the strength. But who could have braved death to bring it?" The mysterious figure in the cloak then takes down her cloak, saying, "Who, my lord? one who rides to save the land from the shadow of Ragnarok. I, Lady Sif. At this point, Sif falls to the ground saying, "The dead flee at the thunder and melt at the lightning. Come to me, my lord. Claim what is yours. The realm eternal has need of thee." And with that, Thor takes his hammer to avenge Sif. We also see that Sif's sacrifice enables Thor to free himself and Balder from death with the blessing of Hela, as she says, "Thy ransom has been paid. The balance is kept." And with Thor alive once again, of course, he stopped Ragnarok and defeats his brother Loki and the plan he set in place. After which he returns to Odin's side and finally gets his father's approval. And that, my friends, is what would have happened if Loki had found Thor's hammer. So in summary, he would have killed Thor, but ultimately, Thor would have come back to life and saved the day anyway. Since this is a what-if story, I personally would have liked Thor to stay dead, and Loki would have been successful in starting Ragnarok and ultimately become the new Thor and ruler of Asgard. But that's just what I would have done. This is still a fun story nonetheless. With that said, let us know what-if stories you guys would like us to cover here on the channel, because there is no shortage of them. So let us know down in the comments. And that's gonna bring today's episode of Variant to a close. But if you like today's video, be sure to check out this one right here. And if you like all of our content, subscribe, like, and comment. It helps the channel grow. But other than that, I'll see you guys next time when I talk about all things comics.